Are there only 4 matches on this card?
Yes.
Huh, interesting.
As of right now, 4 matches in a box.
Oh, the box. The box.
So do we want to make a box prediction? Is that part of the...
You're damn right. In my opinion, I think this was the way to do it. I think that this was, in a lot of ways, for me, Skeena, superior to the way that Cena went out. Welcome to the Lariat Lounge. This is the home of smart takes, hard hits, and real talk. I'm your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens. Skeena, we are less than 72 hours away from the Elimination Chamber. We are less than 55 days away from the granddaddy of them all. And for some reason, it feels like WWE has more problems now with what their card is going to look like than it did 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, Braun Breaker was still an active member of the roster. 3 weeks ago, Bronson Reed was still an active member of the roster. I'm going to tell you like this, man, and I'm not even going to bury the lead here. The head position in the Vision, I believe it's cursed.
The Vision is a tag team now, so...
The Vision is a tag team now.
It's a Logan Paul and Grayson, or not Grayson Waller, a Logan Paul and Austin Theory tag team managed by Paul Heyman.
And a mid-card tag team.
Yeah.
A mid-card tag team at that. It is the craziest set of events. And I hope, my genuine desire is for the Elimination Chamber to go off without a hitch. I'm not going to hitch my wagon yet to the idea that this is going to be a rolling issue for WWE to have to contend with. But boy, when Bronson Reed went down, listen, we will get to all of that. I'm not even going to jump too far into it because when it happened, I thought to myself in the immediacy of the moment, that's legit. I didn't see the injury, but you can't be playing the injury angle with all of these legit injuries that have been happening this close to Mania. But anyway, listen, I'm jumping off the boat here. Skeena, how are you doing, man?
Pretty good. On the mend, feeling slightly better. Sickness still hanging around a little bit, but you know, that's winter sometimes. So
that's how it is. I totally understand, dude.
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm actually doing much better than I was doing the other day. I have been having some dental procedures as of late, the last couple weeks, and they have been making my mouth feel like total crap. Yesterday, if I was trying to do this yesterday, wouldn't have happened. But I've been having some dental treatment that's been making my mouth feel freaking terrible, and my allergies have been flaring up like nobody's business. But I am feeling 85% better than I felt yesterday. And so I am happy because today is Wednesday. Today is the Lariat Lounge day, and I was not going to miss it because this is our 2026 Elimination Chamber prediction episode. This is episode 49. So
49.
If you all are not aware, if you have not been keeping up the last couple weeks, the format for the Lariat Lounge is changing. It's not changing in a way that's going to remove the podcast from your listening ears. But what it is going to do is it's going to deliver a brand new avenue for you to consume the Lariat Lounge. And that's in video format, folks. The Lariat Lounge is going video podcast in 2026. Actually, it's going video podcast on episode 50. So next week, you will be able to see Skeena and I's wonderful faces all over your televisions, all over your smartphones, all over your smartwatches. If you prefer to watch stuff that way, that's a little weird, but to each your own. But you'll be able to see us anywhere you want to watch us. You got an Xbox? You can check us out there. You got a PlayStation? You can watch us on YouTube there too. We're everywhere, man, and we're going to be in your living room. So if you're ready for that, please, 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 please let everyone know. Let us know on the socials. Let us know wherever you can get us that you're liking what we're doing. But if you don't know where to find us, Skeena, please let the listeners know where they can catch the Lariat Lounge in our current and future evolved glory.
For the last time, I'm going to tell you this is coming at you as a podcast, audio only, on all your favorite podcast platforms. That's YouTube, that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your shows. That is where we are. We are over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. That's where you can DM us, interact with us. Inbox is always open. I'm always checking it. And as always, the inbox is also open in email form at the lariatlounge@gmail.com.
Seriously, guys, we do appreciate it. And look, fret not. If your preference is listening to the Lariat Lounge in audio format, we are not going anywhere. All of the places that you listen to us, you'll be able to listen to us there as well. We're just giving you an additional avenue to consume the Lariat Lounge if you so choose to look at the wonderful, beautiful faces of Skeena and I every single week. So we're just opening up more of a way for you to consume, but trust and believe the tried and true podcast format, audio only, is not going anywhere. So if you're enjoying what we're doing, if you're appreciating the increased level of access that you are getting to Skeena and I in the Lariat Lounge in 2026, leave us a like wherever it is that you are consuming this podcast. It's a little thing for you. It's genuinely free, but for us, it means the world. So we really, really do appreciate it. But we are on the road to WrestleMania. We are fast approaching that big Vegas sign in the sky. So enough with the fluff. Let's get to the stuff. Skeena, we might as well go ahead and start with where it is that we started the podcast at the top, which is the unfortunate news that Braun Breaker is injured with some sort of bicep tear.
Bronson Reed.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said Braun Breaker. He's already there. He's already on the aisle.
Injured. Yeah.
Bronson Reed is joining his fellow Braun brother on the injured reserve list with a bicep tear that he received in his qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. We just got finished right before the injury happened with WWE setting up how Bronson Reed was being positioned as the new leader of the Vision. And now he is gone. He is down for the count. And as Skeena so eloquently put, the Vision is literally a tag team now. Yep. It is a tag team of Austin Theory and Logan Paul, managed by Paul Heyman, who apparently now is also the advocate for the Beast, Brock Lesnar. So
He's got to do something.
He's got to do something. I'm just wondering, like, is WWE attempting to try and make the most of whatever it is that they're doing with Brock in the event that is happening currently, that the Vision is crumbling before our very eyes? Like, utilizing Paul simply in the Vision's corner currently ain't it. It's not the move. And so I'm wondering, is WWE making a pivot with how they're utilizing Paul Heyman? Because this genuinely sucks for the Vision. First it was Seth, then it was Braun, now it's Bronson. They are going out in the order that the Vision was built, which means the next one to go would be Logan. So
yeah,
your thoughts, man?
I mean, they gotta do something. I'm mostly wondering where they go with the masked man stuff that has been a pretty big focal point of the show and a pretty big mystery, but like, where do we go from here? Do we even reveal it now that things have gone down the way they are? I mean, you probably have to, but we did not get a masked man sighting on Monday, which I have to assume is because Bronson Reed went down and couldn't factor in the finish, and therefore the masked man couldn't really factor in the finish. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Vision was a month ago a huge focal point of these shows with a full cast of characters, and now not so much. So yeah, WWE's in a tough spot in regards to all that stuff.
They definitely are, man.
I don't know what they do, because I don't know what the plan was, but certainly you have to alter something, you would think.
Yeah. Well, listen, you got to think. I mean, it's weird, right? Because obviously no one intends on getting injured, right? And unless WWE is working some real elaborate angle right now, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
These are
right?
real injuries.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm not even postulating that is a thing. But no one intended for Seth Rollins to get injured. And so you got to think that the plans that WWE has been going forward with CM Punk, and you're branching off that into Roman, and the plans that they were setting up with Braun Breaker was a pivot from the plans that they had originally had established, because Seth Rollins was a big part of those plans, right? Then you get Braun Breaker getting this hernia, flipping the announce table, and now you have to pivot this close to Elimination Chamber, this close to WrestleMania, which it already felt like we were working with borrowed time with the vision. But then the Masked Man angle, okay, this can still work to our favor. You can still at least play this like Braun Breaker and his injury may have had something to do with the Masked Man's interference. Like maybe his involvement was in some way a precursor to the injury. They never said that, but it was all on screen. We all got to watch it, so no one was going to forget the Masked Man's involvement at the start of the Rumble. But then you get Bronson Reed, and you brought up a really salient point. The fact that the Masked Man's involvement was not there on Monday, and you got to think that if Bronson Reed had finished that match, that the Masked Man would have come out and maybe stomped Bronson Reed as well to have him removed from the Elimination Chamber. So the idea that who went over in that match? It was Trick Williams, right?
No, that was the
that was a SmackDown one.
It was Jay.
Okay, so that was Jay, right? Because Trick's on SmackDown, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Trick won his match on SmackDown, but it was Bronson, Jay, and the original El Grande Americano.
Yes. So obviously it wasn't going to be OG Americano. It was going to come down to Jay or Bronson. So the likelihood that it was going to end up being Jay in that position was probably the conclusion we were going to get to anyway, seeing as how the Masked Man was probably going to keep Bronson Reed out of the, you know what I'm saying, the chamber anyway.
Yeah, that's certainly what we thought and postulated last week.
Right. So it doesn't necessarily deviate any plans with regards to the chamber and what they intend on doing coming out of the Elimination Chamber. But definitely now that the division is just decimated. They are legit decimated at this point. I don't know how you move forward with this. Like, I genuinely don't. Like, unless you push Logan to the front. Because, listen, as much as I appreciate Theory's rebranding, as much as I appreciate him kind of stepping his game up and being a bit more serious, and obviously WWE thought that putting him in this position was going to be beneficial somehow. I don't think he is ready, and I don't think WWE is ready to latch on the reins of the leadership position of the Vision over to Austin Theory. And Logan Paul has been doing a whole lot more talking than I thought he was ever going to be doing when he first joined the Vision. But honestly, dude, if I was Logan, I don't think I'd want it. I don't think I'd want that position, because clearly there's something in the water that is being served to the head of the Vision's table. And if I was Austin Theory, I'd be counting my lucky stars and my blessings that I am not the top billed person in that faction currently.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they do, because you were already in trouble when Braun Breaker went down, and you could try to salvage it, but I just think whatever you were doing, it's got to be a full pivot. Like, you're not just going to slide Austin Theory into whatever, because you figure Logan Paul had some sort of plan for WrestleMania already, just because he's a big enough name. So I don't think you destroy whatever that is, and I don't think you slide Austin Theory into whatever you had for Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. So I think it's just they're probably in full-on scramble mode, and I don't envy whoever's got to figure out what the heck to do here.
You think Logan's got plans outside of the Vision?
I mean, I don't necessarily think outside of the Vision, but I think they had something for him, be it a Bad Bunny match, perhaps, or something like that.
Yeah, we were hearing about Bad Bunny a bit.
And I don't think you would throw that away just to cover up, whatever Bronson Reed was going to be doing. I don't know. It's just been such a rash of injuries, and sometimes this pops up, but we've never had it just in in one like stable. Like that's the crazy part.
That is wild. That is genuinely crazy that we have had three injuries in one stable in less than 6 months.
Yep.
I mean, that has got to be, I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I've ever seen a faction
this high profile.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm thinking back to any faction. I don't think I've seen a faction that has been decimated by injury alone. You know what I'm saying? And listen, unassisted injury. Each one of these guys injured themselves.
Yeah.
Like, that is crazy talk. But here we are. Here we are. So, you know, look, I genuinely hope that the Masked Man is Seth Rollins, because if it is not Seth Rollins, I don't see how you salvage this storyline at all. Like, I think if it's not Seth Rollins, I think it's one of those things where you quietly either put this out the pasture, you know what I'm saying? And just, we don't speak of it anymore, because listen, WWE does that sometimes. I don't particularly like it, but this definitely feels like one of those instances where you may just need to pull that card, because
as much as I hate it, like I'm in the same boat. Like what impact does it have when there's no vision left, really?
Yeah. No, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's why I said, unless it's Seth, if Seth is the man, if he's cleared, right, and he's been the Masked Man, the way you salvage this is when Seth reveals himself, he needs to get himself involved in Bad Bunny versus Logan, if that's what we're getting, right, and cause Logan to lose his match too. And then the reveal happens that it's Seth, right? I think even if you don't directly tie each one of these injuries to Seth in a creative way. So WWE is not saying Seth was the reason that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed got injured. You leave that to the mind of the viewers, right? No, it wasn't directly stated, right? But Seth had a hand in Braun Breaker's early elimination from the Rumble. And then Braun Breaker is gone the very next night with that injury. And then Bronson Reed gets himself injured, which you can't necessarily tie that to the Masked Man. But he's already caused Austin Theory to lose too, because Austin was in a qualifying match as well, wasn't he?
Yes.
So yeah, I think the only way you can salvage this is if it's Seth, and then Seth comes back with some insidious plan that he put into place to eliminate all of these hangers-on from his vision. But what vision is that, Seth? Because you are not currently in the world championship picture. You know what I'm saying? And you just destroyed what you built. Like, it sucks, because 41's main event match between Rollins, Reigns, and Punk, and the setup that came after that match, or at the end of that match per se, was honestly one of the best setups that I had remember seeing in quite a while. You know what I mean? Like the double turn was excellent. It was excellently executed. Shout out to Brett. And it was just so well done to see this vision, pun intended, just kind of go up in smoke like this. It genuinely sucks. But I'm with you in the sense that at this point, man, I don't know what you do. I don't know how you salvage this at all.
I don't know either. Like, I really don't. But that's why I said I wasn't envious of them having to deal with this, because I have no ideas.
No, they're just going to have to quietly drop it. And look, I hope everyone's okay. But if WWE, like, their best case scenario would be for them to just drop it and not even return to this.
Yeah.
And particularly because now you already have Heyman positioning himself as the advocate for Brock Lesnar already. You know what I mean? And that was something that at the beginning of the vision, or the beginning of Seth Rollins' championship run, that was a point of contention that was brought up on programming. That does Seth know that you're, you know what I'm saying, talking to Brock? And it was pointed out that Seth knows everything that's going on, but there was clearly a setup there that there was going to be some sort of issue that was going to come up at some point with Heyman's affiliation with Brock. But we didn't foresee Seth's injury, and we didn't foresee Braun or Bronson's injury. And now Heyman is just full on out there with Brock, cutting this promo with him. And so, yeah, it's going to be one of the things they walk away from. And before we get to the men's and women's Elimination Chamber match, which we've got all of our participants now, I want to talk with you briefly about one Brock Lesnar. He showed up on Raw, and Heyman was with him. And I honestly think that because Bronson Reed's injury happened out of nowhere, it made me genuinely feel like because of that, I think that Heyman going out with Brock Lesnar, I think that was impromptu. It felt impromptu. And I do. Because I feel like Heyman is usually better with those promos. And that promo was not his best. And it genuinely felt like Heyman was putting together something on the fly, because I genuinely think he is the best when it comes to cutting promos. I think he's the best when it comes to cutting promos. Wrestler, manager, it doesn't matter. I think Paul Heyman is just the GOAT. He's goated when it comes to that. And I think that he was on the back foot, and he did the best that he could there. I think it came off well. It was much better than what most people cut on a promo when they're prepping it. But I think that it seemed like...
I didn't get any of these vibes at all.
Huh, okay.
I thought it was, I really thought it was pretty good. I thought that segment did a great job. I think there's more intrigue now for what Brock is doing if they build it up the way they're doing, which, I mean, we get 5 appearances of Brock between now and WrestleMania, which is way more than I thought we had.
Yeah.
But the intrigue of him being there and being like, oh, who is going to step up?
Right.
I think that's a good way to play this. I think that was better than just giving us the answer last night.
Yeah.
And I liked Heyman's promo. I really enjoyed them, him saying, you used to have the title match and the Undertaker match, but now you've got the Brock match and the title match, which, people can argue about. But for Paul Heyman in character and in storyline, I think it makes sense to say that. And that, I don't know, I liked it all. I think I'm definitely more interested in who's going to face Brock now than I would have been had we just gotten the answer.
Yeah, listen, I didn't not like Heyman's promo. Like, let's be clear about that. I am a Paul Heyman guy unofficially. But I like Heyman's promos. I think he did great, and I think he did great on Monday. It just felt like it was impromptu. It felt like it was freestyled. And do I think that Paul Heyman goes out every time he cuts a promo and knows what he's going to say? I don't. I think when you are goated like that, when you are that good, I think you have a little bit of leeway. I think WWE is willing to give you a bit of a pass. I think Heyman is the type of person who has that type of latitude to be able to kind of go out there and freestyle it, because he knows what he's doing. He knows how to do it, and he's going to do a great job at it. So me saying that I think he kind of freestyled that in no way was insinuating that I thought that he did a bad job or that the promo wasn't good, because I thought the promo was very good.
I still just I didn't get the impression that it was impromptu at all. I figured he would
said
always
Brock Lesnar's name like 72,000 times. Like, listen, if that was the gimmick, okay, fine. Listen, we understand now that you were the advocate for Brock Lesnar.
That I don't know what he was saying.
Yeah, I don't
know if that was planned or what.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I did not take it the same way you did, I guess, which is interesting.
I mean, listen, I don't think it changes anything at all about the promo itself. And I don't think it changes anything about what it does for the match, because I get the idea that it brings some intrigue to the match where maybe it used to not be. And I understand that maybe because we got those list of dates for when Lesnar is going to be showing up on the show, that at least we know that there's going to be some kind of build to whatever match is happening. And that's great. That's a great thing. Do I think that it is better than the idea that Lesnar just got confronted by the person? In a way, yes. I think ultimately, yes. So I think it would have been bad had someone like Obafemi just kind of showed up last night, which he was there. Or not last night, on Monday, but he was there. But you know what I mean? Like, if he had just come out there and confronted Lesnar, I think that would have worked as well. But I get the idea of maybe holding it off, allowing for these, 5 or 6 dates that we've got with Lesnar prior to Mania for Obafemi to step up and challenge Lesnar. And at first I was kind of like, why would we do that? But I guess we're going to get some interim program between Rusev and Oba.
Yep.
Which, okay, listen, I think it's a good way to use Rusev because we really haven't seen much of Rusev since he beat, who was he wrestling going against a whole bunch? Was it Aleister Black or Damian Priest?
Well, he had 900 matches against Sheamus.
Okay, yes, that's who I'm, okay, Sheamus.
I think he actually had like 3 and it felt like 300.
Yeah, well, listen, if you told me that there were like 300 matches between Sheamus and Rusev, I don't think I would have doubted you too much. Like, maybe I would have thought that maybe there was an additional 0 there, and then you're thinking 30, which is still too many. But yeah, listen, it's a good way to use Rusev because we have not seen Rusev since his 30 for 30 match against Sheamus. So now that he's back, he's had some pretty definitive wins over the likes of Tozawa, over Rusev, you know, coming up against Obafemi, you know, he's going to get ran. Let's be perfectly clear here. Rusev is signing up for a beatdown. But yeah, I think that this gives us something for Oba to do in the interim. And then he'll step up and he'll challenge Brock. How they do that will be interesting to watch. But I am all in on the idea. I think
it'll be closer to WrestleMania probably that we find that out. And I think that's probably the best way to do it. Like let Oba keep dominating people and maybe we drop hints here and there, but yeah, I think they can milk the Brock opponent stuff for a good bit, I would think.
Dude, the face-to-face is what I'm waiting for. Like, that face-to-face between Brock and Oba, I think is going to be world class. Like, them just two meaty men slapping man meat right there. And I cannot wait for them to go heads up. And we stated this a few episodes ago. I can't remember how many episodes it was ago, but I said it then, I say it now, and I stand by it. I genuinely want the contest between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar to maybe be 6 minutes, maybe 7. I want them to have a competitive match against one another for maybe the first 3 minutes. And then the remaining 4 minutes of a 7-minute match, I want it to be Oba beating Brock Lesnar. Like, however you do it, whether they decide they want to go the full-on beatdown route or the squash route after 4 minutes or so, whether they want it to go into a situation where Oba starts building momentum and Lesnar just cannot overcome the might that is the ruler. However you do it, I do not want this match to be one where it seems like toward the end of the match, it could go either way. I mean, I don't think it'll be bad, but what I would love to see is for WWE to take what they built with this first promo, which speaks to the idea that you got championship matches, but WrestleMania used to be partly about coming to see the streak and coming to see who Mr. WrestleMania before him, right, was going to wrestle. Because when Shawn Michaels was wrestling someone, it didn't have to have a title, right? But now you've got Brock. And when Brock shows up to Mania, the temperature gets turned up. And I would like to see them build on this and then have Oba really put a hurting on Brock. And you christen another pillar of like supremacy. Because you're doing that very effectively with Gunther. And now you need to build Oba up in that same way. so that when we eventually get Oba versus Gunther, it's going to be a literal rehashing of a unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I think I just really want this match to happen. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be exactly what you said, like under 10 minutes, just hard hitting, fast paced, the typical Brock Lesnar match that we get. It's not long and drawn out. It's fast and furious for the most part.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think it's happening. I don't have any reason to think something else is happening right now because you got to figure Obafemi's doing something at WrestleMania at this point. And what else is he going to do? Where else does he fit in there? At least for me. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. The Elimination Chamber will obviously play a big factor in that, I think. So
yeah. I mean, we'll see. Speaking of the Elimination Chamber, great segue for us to jump off there, Skeeter. The participants in the Elimination Chamber are solidified. So we've had all of our qualifying matches. We've got 6 participants for the men. We've got 6 participants for the women. For the women, let's start there with our prediction segment of the episode. So we're going to get into all of our predictions now. So if you're listening along, I hope you've got your own scorecard set so that we can compare these notes on Saturday. Make sure to tune in Saturday because we will be doing Lariat Lounge Live for the Elimination Chamber. So if you got your pizza order set up in your phone, make sure you got it set to pre-order on Saturday so you're in place and ready to go. Because I've been holding off on my pizza all week because I have been craving some and it's going down on Saturday, best believe. But let's start with the women. So the women, for the participants, we have Tiffany Stratton, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, and Kiana freaking James.
yeah, just like we predicted, right?
I mean, like
out of nowhere. Wow.
Dude, at this point, I think somebody is listening to this podcast. Either that or we just have really great wrestling sense. But, or a little bit of both. It could be both. But listen, Kiana James had an incredible match. She had an incredible match. And that woman is strong. Like, I did not see her doing a Samoan drop on Nia.
Yeah.
But she did it, and she did not look like she was straining that hard. That was crazy strong. And so, listen, you can easily win me over with a good feat of strength and a good match. And listen, if Kiana James were to lose that theme music, because I think it is hot garbage, and if she were to lose the little skirt she wears to the ring and carry in a handbag and just take herself a little bit more serious, I think Kiana James could have a stellar 2026 if she capitalizes. Because look, they don't put you in the Elimination Chamber match, Skeeter, if they think that you're a nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they think that you're just like a mid-carder and that's how they see you, they're not going to put you over in that way. Because even if you don't win the Elimination Chamber, right? The Elimination Chamber is one of those matches that I find very similar to the rub that you can get from Survivor Series, which is even if you're on the losing team or even if you're someone who loses, you're being put on a pedestal that is showing that WWE at least has interest in having faith in you. They haven't necessarily pulled the trigger yet, but they're interested. And they're interested in seeing what you can do on a bigger stage with brighter lights, right? And they trust that you can get it done in the ring. And now they want to see if you're capable of carrying your weight in a match like this or Money in the Bank or Survivor Series. So for Kiana James to get that spot, I was so pulling for her after her little feat of strength with Nia. And the fact that she got the spot and stole it too, by the way. Love heel tactics. I was all on board. But Skeeter, your thoughts on the 6 women who are now our Elimination Chamber participants and Kiana James' surprise entry into this match?
Yeah, Kiana winning, definitely a surprise for sure. But thought it was definitely one of the other 2 women that were going to win. But Yeah, we'll see. Good opportunity for her. Get into the chamber because we had Raquel get the win and enter the chamber on Raw. So, man, we've been leaning Raquel, and now I've kind of like talked myself out of it.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Tiffany Stratton.
Oh, okay, let's talk about it.
I
So,
do. I'm not seeing where the Raquel thing fits at this point. I've like talked myself out of it.
okay.
Like, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they break her away, but like, if she wins, like, does she just move to SmackDown and move out of the Judgment Day? I don't know how they would deal with that. I mean, obviously they can. It's not like the
Yeah.
brand split is hard for them to get around anymore, but yeah, I think for some reason I've just got the feeling now that look, Tiffany is going to win. People aren't going to be happy about it, but they've got to. Tiffany was hurt, and Jade took advantage of her in storyline and beat a hurt Tiffany Stratton to win the title. And I think they're going to get back to that rematch and just go from there. I don't know why. I've talked myself out of Raquel winning, even though I'm still rooting for her.
Okay, so
I just don't know how they get her like to SmackDown, and then if she wins, does she just leave the Judgment Day? If she loses, is she still on SmackDown? I just don't know. I just don't know how they play that
so I
part
mean,
of it.
so I'm assuming that this is under the pretense that and I believe we may have covered this already. You may have already corrected me on
Yes,
this.
this is what it is 100%. It is for who challenges Jade. They said that at the end of Raw after Liv had made her decision.
Yeah. Listen, I am still going to hold out hope that this is to throw us off of the scent. But it does leave and by throw off the scent, I mean, if you're not up to speed with what it is I'm talking about, listeners, I am of the thought that Raquel wins the Elimination Chamber. Raquel is supposed to pick Jade Cargill because she is the champion who does not currently have a challenger at WrestleMania. However, I think that Raquel wins the chamber and then also challenges Stephanie Vaquer. And I think that pulls in the angle that they have been building within the Judgment Day and the elimination of Raquel by Liv at the Royal Rumble. We started on that with a few times where Raquel was intending on speaking her piece about this, and we always got interrupted. And on a few occasions, it was interrupted by one Stephanie Vaquer. So to me, it seemed like they were setting this up to be the thing. And so I get it. I understand that WWE has been stating that this is going to be for who challenges Jade, but I would love for this to be WWE throwing us off the scent and that we still get this match. But I understand that this could be problematic because who do you have challenging Jade Cargill at WrestleMania? We're not going to not have the women's WWE champion not competing at WrestleMania. So unless we're doing something else to line up someone for Jade, it's going to come from the Elimination Chamber. And I get what you're saying too, that if that's going to be the case, handling Raquel with regards to her presence in the Judgment Day and her position on Raw, if she were to win, does she go to SmackDown? If she's not going to win, or she's not going to go to SmackDown, then you're kind of setting up this foreshadowing of who's going to win that match that doesn't need to exist. Also, the problem is you haven't really built anything. Well, you don't have to if you're relying on the outcome of the chamber to determine the match, because that is, on paper, it is a crapshoot. So anyone could win. And from there, you start to build within the weeks between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania, the feud or the story that comes off of the Elimination Chamber winner. So it could be Raquel, but I also feel like you've got participants here that could be a better matchup for Jade Cargill. And you think it's going to be Tiffany Stratton because they're going to run back the idea that Jade beat a wounded Tiffany.
Yes.
Okay, I could see that. I don't see Alexa Bliss winning this. I don't see Asuka winning this. I don't see, though my contrarian mind wants to, I don't see Kiana James winning the Elimination Chamber.
I mean,
and going to a
Rhea versus Jade would be cool, but I think that kind of presents the same problem. I don't think they move Rhea away from Rhea and Io just yet.
Well, particularly not while they're the champions.
I think they can actually use what will be kind of the reaction from a portion of the fan base that would be upset if Tiffany wins this match to help Jade, because it would at least get people invested in the outcome one way or the other.
Okay.
Because I think Tiffany has a little bit of that, and I think you could use that and be like, look, then just cheer for Jade. And I think people would be receptive to, hey, I don't like Tiffany, so let me really get behind Jade here.
So essentially turning Jade into like a tweener or a face?
No, but just presenting her as the option to cheer. They don't have to act any different. They could just be, that's who they cheer for in this match. That's who people cheer for.
Oh, no, and I get that's what I mean, right? Like, that's what I mean by like a tweener. And I mean a tweener the way I've been describing it in the last few weeks, right? Which is the classic sense of what a tweener really is. And I could see that. And honestly, narratively, it makes the most sense to run Tiffany and Jade back. It's the one thing that has some history behind it. But man, like, do I want to see Jade and Tiffany 2 at WrestleMania? Was there really a lot of hype between their first go round?
No, but like you gotta understand, for better or worse, like where this match is going to be. It is not one of the top, I'd say, at least 5 matches at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
it just is what it is. I mean, it's just not. Which is okay. Like, the titles ebb and flow, especially, which title's going to take preference. I don't know. I don't really see anything that, like, The Rock... I just don't see any way they're super getting me excited about what the Jade match is, given these participants. Unless it's like, I would be excited for Jade and Rhea and seeing what they do there. I just don't think it'll happen. And I would have been excited for Jade and Charlotte, but obviously that's not happening. So we'll see. I just have this inkling that it's Tiffany now.
I mean, look, I agree. Snafu. I agree. It makes the most sense. It makes the most sense. I'm not jazzed to see that match.
I'm not either. I'm not saying I am. I just think that's what we're getting.
It's okay. I get you on that. So I'm assuming, based on that your prediction is that Tiffany Stratton is the winner of the Elimination Chamber for the women.
Yes.
Yes. For the sake of this being entertaining and fun, I think that unless we get some Kyrie interference to try and help Asuka win, I'm going to put my bet on Rhea. I'm going to put my bet on Rhea, and you get Rhea versus Jade at WrestleMania. I think that is just a bigger draw for Mania. I think that it looks better on paper. And I think Tiffany just does better when she is on the chase. I don't know if it's her character or when she's in a face role, but to me, Tiffany Stratton is far better as a heel. And when she's chasing something, I feel like she's got more of an edge that she loses when she's the champion. And I think maybe she needs to have a few more singles feuds under her belt, so to speak, to kind of give her a little something that maybe she's missing. But do I think that the foregone conclusion is going to be Tiffany Stratton? Yes, I do. But I really want it to be Rhea Ripley. So Skeener's got Tiffany Stratton. I've got Rhea Ripley. We'll put that down on paper as what we got locked in. I will try to remember that for Saturday because I always forget. But now we move on to the men's Elimination Chamber match, which consists of Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, Javon Evans, Jey Uso, LA Knight, and Tricky 2 times, Trick Williams. He just qualified and locked up the last spot was by Trick?
No. Jay got the last spot.
Okay, yep, that's right.
Monday,
Jay got the last spot. But Trick got in as well. So our 6 combatants are primed and they're ready for the chamber. Now, I heard some rumblings. This isn't coming from anywhere but other people who spectate and speculate on wrestling program, same as we do. But the name I've heard that they're thinking are going to win the Elimination Chamber is Cody Rhodes. The idea that Cody Rhodes is going to go on to face Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, because we can't dare have a WrestleMania that does not have Cody in a championship match. And as much as I like the code ban, there's nothing that you can say or do to get me to vote against Trick Williams. I am on the Trick Williams, the Tricky 2 times, the 1-800 whoop that, the lemon pepper stepper train until the wheels fall off of that bitch. So I am down for Trick Williams winning this match by hook or by crook. But Skeener, your thoughts on the build up to this match, how we got here and the participants here, and who do you think is going to walk away with the big fat dub here going into WrestleMania?
I've liked all the matches. I think this is a good field. Obviously, the big surprise was Javon Evans winning in a match that had Gunther in it.
Absolutely.
I'm not moving here. I'm not moving off, I guess, my more ambitious prediction that it's going to be LA Knight and that this may be the time we pull the trigger on LA Knight. I'm still locked in on that. So all the reasons I explained last week, I think this is just the time.
You made a compelling argument last week. And
I may be dead wrong, and it may be Cody, which it wouldn't excite me the most, but I would understand. Like, I mean, Cody is one of probably the 3 biggest stars in the company. So you can always do something marquee with him. But I think there's other things we can do with him too.
I agree.
And we'll just, I'm sticking with LA Knight for all the reasons I've said previously. I think this is the time. I think they've been building up to it. And I think that's where we go.
You made a compelling argument last week. And I can get behind that. This to me is not as polarizing as the women's. If LA Knight were to walk away with the dub, I would not be upset by that, because LA Knight has been a bit overdue for this moment. And so the idea of them pulling the trigger on LA Knight and sending him to Mania to wrestle Drew, I wouldn't be mad at that. And I genuinely think that if you send him to Mania, LA Knight to wrestle Drew, I can't see how you send him there to lose to Drew at WrestleMania. So that will be a great moment to see him defeat Drew and to win his first world championship on the biggest stage. I think it'll be huge. I think the fans will pop. I think it'll be great. And I agree as well that you can do other things with Cody that do not involve him being in the world championship title position. Like, he does not have to be there. And I think it would be more exciting options to do besides Cody. And to be fair, based on what we talked about last week with these ticket sales that are not great right now for WrestleMania, I think it would behoove WWE, it would behoove WrestleMania, and it would be great for the product if WWE started thinking about exciting moments. Give us something that we can really sink our teeth into that does not feel predictable, because I think when you get away from the predictability aspect of how these cards are put together, I think you open up the door for ideas to flow from the consumers of the product, from the customers, from the fans, so that we can sit back and we can wonder, oh my gosh, is LA Knight gonna win this match? Instead of, I think Cody's probably gonna win. Because that feeling, that sentiment, I don't think is going to put butts in the seat. I think you're always going to get a draw because I think Cody's a draw right now, no doubt. But at the very same time, I think you can get the appeal up. I think you can get people to really want to tune in and to zone out and to really just get a good feel-good moment, and you can provide it if someone like LA Knight or if you christen someone new. Can you imagine if Trick Williams steals this win, right? And listen.
Oh, I just love that. We did all that to you talk yourself into Trick winning this.
Dude, I am not off the Trick train. I stated that from the jump. I'm not getting off that train. Listen, you were the one, Skeener, who sent me the clips of Trick Williams on talk shows.
That was awesome, wasn't it?
That was awesome, right? I also saw Trick Williams and Lash Legend on some YouTube show, I believe. I can't remember what it was, but it might have been like Hot Ones. It might have been like the duo Hot Ones special episodes that they do. It might have been that or something else, but I saw him up there too, right? Ain't nobody else got that leading up to WrestleMania. I haven't seen any of the other participants get those things. I think WWE knows without a shadow of a doubt that they've got a star in Trick Williams. The fact that they put him in the chamber at all, right? Like I stated earlier, is a huge vote of confidence, right? We have confidence in you. Let's see what you do when these lights are bright. I think if you were to have him steal a victory here, I think that the eruption during Trick Williams' entrance in Vegas at WrestleMania will be unlike anything that we have seen in quite some time. I think it writes itself. And we did get that interaction between Drew and Trick early when Trick first showed up on the main roster. They had that little face-to-face in the entryway where Drew said something to him along the lines of like, I don't know, like he told him like good job for like stepping. But who's it?
They were respect for it. Was Drew gave him kind of respect for stepping up, but told him to watch who he's stepping up to.
That's it. I would love for Trick to win this and then run that little conversation back. You know what I mean?
Look, it is happening sooner rather than later for Trick. I just don't think it's this soon.
Yeah. I mean,
it could be though. Like, I'm not discounting it. I'm not saying I'm rooting against it and that I wouldn't love it. That's just not my prediction.
No, I hear you. And listen,
I think now is the time, if we're pulling the trigger, to pull the LA Knight trigger and see what happens. Just in terms of, just sheer shelf life, I guess.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I can be of two minds.
Trick's going to be there. He's going to be here for a long, long time.
Yeah.
We pretty much got to figure out whether or not LA Knight is just, is actually a mega star or he's just a star.
Yeah, listen, it is a compelling argument. It genuinely is, because if you don't pull the trigger on LA Knight at some point soon, what does that really say about your confidence in him as being a top guy? Like, it's really difficult to justify the idea that WWE has confidence in him when they don't ever pull the trigger on him.
Right.
And so, yeah, I get it. And listen, there is a heart pick. There is a head pick. The head pick, I think, is what you said. I think it makes the most sense. The heart pick is Trick Williams. And I think in this instant, I'm going to go with my heart pick. I don't want to be wrong, but I also get it if I'm not right. You know what I mean? Like, I get it if I'm not right. And that is perfectly okay, because I agree with you 1,000%. Trick's not going anywhere. They got a star, and I don't think he loses any momentum by not making it into a WrestleMania main event for one of the top titles in the company. I just don't. I don't see that as being something that will shelve him. And we did get to see a matchup between Trick and Carmelo in the qualifier, which I did not expect the crowd to go all NXT when it was the two of them in the ring. But it just goes to show that WWE maybe is doing a better job than we thought with walking their viewers from one product to the next by how it is that they're investing in their talent. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think there was going to be a lot of people, as many people as that, who were hearkening back to their NXT history in that little matchup. So I could totally see Trick going into a program with Carmelo if he doesn't qualify. And maybe you get Carmelo versus Trick at Mania.
That's very possible.
I mean, you got time to build it, and they've got history. So, I mean, it's anybody's guess. I mean, look.
Yeah, the reaction to that was better than I would have expected, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, we got another match. I'm looking at the WWE, .com website for Elimination Chamber. And we've got the 2 Elimination Chamber matches. We've got our main event, which we'll get to. But we also got the Women's Intercontinental Championship match between Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. For me, there's not too much to say about the feud. Like, I feel like the feud has suffered in a few ways. I think it's suffered mainly for the obvious reason that AJ Lee has just not been here to really help this feud along as much as she could have. And honestly, we haven't seen as much of Becky Lynch as I would have thought we would have seen, given that AJ Lee was not present. But we've seen more Becky than we have of AJ. And the recorded backstage segment that Becky shot for Raw, I believe, that was really good.
Yes, I did like that. I like that much better than the promo. We didn't really touch on it last week, but I thought that got a little awkward in stages.
Oh, yeah, the in-ring promo between the two of them?
Yeah.
It did. It did. I think it suffers. I think this feud suffers not from a lack of interest, because I think Becky is always going to draw that interest in. And I genuinely think that people like AJ Lee. I just feel like because AJ Lee has not been present here as much as she needs to be, I feel like the feud has suffered from the somewhat lack of a Becky Lynch. And listen, one-sided feuds are always a coin toss. Like, sometimes you can have a feud that is legitimately carried by one person for the majority of it, and it works because it works. But then you have instances where it doesn't land the way you might want it to. And for this one, I don't know if it's been landing as snugly as you would like. And it begs the question of who is going to walk away with the Women's Intercontinental Championship at Elimination Chamber. Because you'd think that with this being in Chicago and with the popularity of one AJ Lee, that going into this feud, it seemed like it made a lot of sense to me that Becky would drop the title to AJ. And then maybe you run it back at Mania. But at this point, I'm wondering, like, is this a limited run that we get for AJ Lee? Like, do you put the title on her and she's not around with the title? Or is this another situation of it was cool when we were doing it, it's maybe petered off a little bit? If she's not...
Yeah, that's just been weird. Like, there hasn't been enough AJ to sell this for me. There just really hasn't.
Yeah. No, there has not been a lot of AJ here to really make this work. And so when you do have that promo situation right there between AJ Lee and Becky Lynch in the ring, it just seemed so forced. It just seemed so forced. And it seemed as if they were trying to build something that just did not have the energy behind it. And it didn't feel like the fans were behind it much either. And I feel like when you get to that point, it almost feels like your better course of action is almost to not have her drop the title to AJ at all. I guess it would be nice. I'm not a dirt sheet viewer. I'm not someone who pays attention to a lot of that, but it would be nice if we got a declarative statement from AJ Lee the way that we did with Nikki Bella, that she's back in some sense, right? And that maybe we could count on the idea that AJ is going to be around so that we can have maybe somewhat more of a feeling that this could really go either way, this matchup between her and Becky. But as it currently stands, there's my heart pick, there's my head pick. My heart pick is always down to see something that is cool, to see something that the fans are going to want to see. My head pick, however, is thinking that because we are this close to WrestleMania, unless you are going to run it back at WrestleMania, Becky versus AJ 2, I don't know if you drop this title. You know, I don't know if Becky drops his title at Elimination Chamber to AJ. I want her to drop it to AJ. And I want them to run Becky AJ 2 at WrestleMania. And then maybe you have Becky somehow, some way, beats AJ at WrestleMania and wins the Intercontinental Championship back. And then that maybe wraps up AJ's limited run if that's what she's doing. And it gives her an opportunity to be here, compete, to hold a title, to wrestle at WrestleMania. You know what I mean? And then she can drop the title and then she can go back to doing whatever she's doing. So I'm going to go with my heart pick again. And I'm going to say that I think AJ beats Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship at Elimination Chamber. But Skeena, the floor is yours.
I think we're doing it again at WrestleMania, but I think it's going the opposite way. I think Becky's getting a controversial heel tactic laden win here, and then they're running it back at WrestleMania where AJ can win it and get the big WrestleMania moment.
I like that too.
At least that's how I see it.
I like that too.
I think trying to get a little heat, especially in Chicago for the quote unquote hometown girl, would serve them well here.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that too. I mean, the outcome is what I really like. Like the outcome of whether or not AJ is holding the title or not at the end of Elimination Chamber. I genuinely hope that WWE runs Becky versus AJ back at WrestleMania. They can get that nice WrestleMania, pre-WrestleMania rub with the video package that are always, you know, bananas during WrestleMania season. And they can really build something off of this feud with that video package that will hopefully fill the gaps that are currently missing in that feud and make us really want to tune in and see it. I mean, we're going to be tuned in and watching it anyway, but I would really love to see them make a build like that. And I think we get there for the IC championship with Becky and AJ running it back. I think we see it going to WrestleMania differently. So
yeah,
I guess your pick is Becky.
My pick is Becky.
Okay. So we're split 2 for 2 right now. Actually, no, are we split 3 for 3?
Yes.
Yes, I picked Trick. You picked LA.
Yes. No.
And then you picked
no
Tiffany.
Agreement so far.
And I picked who did I pick? Raquel.
Still, I believe.
Okay. No, I picked Rhea.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I picked Rhea Ripley. And then we're split on the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. Okay. Are there only 4 matches on this card?
Yes.
Huh. Interesting.
As of right now, 4 matches in a box.
Oh, the box.
Which is going to be a segment, so.
Yep. Listen, it's exactly
so
what
do we want to make a box prediction? Is that part of the...
you damn right.
Okay.
Oh, we're definitely doing a box prediction. We can do that right now before we get to the heavyweight championship match, because I think if there's any match on this card that has a predictable finish,
yeah,
it's the main event. And so we can talk about the box. So I was watching, I watched a bit of a Simon Miller video, and he was positioning 3 faces, I believe. Chris Jericho, Danhausen, and who was the other one? I can't remember. Who was the other person that he had positioned there? I'm not entirely sure. I am still on the Chris Jericho train. Yeah. I think that would just be the biggest pop, and his name has been floating around for quite a bit. And I think if it was Danhausen, I think it would be an awesome pop. But I also think that there would be some people out there who would be like, who is this? Like, who is this guy? And they'll find out pretty quickly. But I don't know. Your thoughts, Skeena, who do you think is going to be in the box? And first, before you even answer that, what are your thoughts on Danhausen? Like, did you consume any Danhausen for real before this?
So, in the way that I think is best, yes. I never watched any matches because I don't really want to see whatever he does wrestling wise, but the non-wrestling stuff, yes, enjoyed it.
Okay, interesting.
So, yeah, never saw what he did in the ring. Don't think I ever watched a match, but like I said, the non-wrestling stuff I loved.
I don't think I have ever consumed one bit of Danhausen content at all.
I liked the non-wrestling stuff so much, and this is I think what what Jim Cornette did with it. He liked him so much that he didn't want to see the wrestling stuff and risk disliking it, essentially. So,
I'm going to have to check out something just to familiarize myself because his name is coming up quite a bit in the conversation of who is in this box.
Yeah.
But, brother, I need it to be Jericho. Like
I really want it to be Jericho. My prediction is Danhausen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my vote with my head prediction, but I would love it to be Jericho. I really would.
Yeah. I'm going with my heart pick. Because I think it's just Jericho.
Maybe we're just not getting Jericho yet. But
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, look, somebody's in that box.
Yes.
At this point, it's not an inanimate object. I'm fully on board with the idea that it is a person and not a thing in the box.
Yeah, probably not with this much buildup.
Yeah, I think it's a person in the box. And listen, I liken myself less to a wrestling expert, certainly less than a wrestling journalist. And I am certainly not a Dave Meltzer-esque wrestling critic. I consider myself much more of a wrestling fan, and particularly a WWE fan. I'm not going to sugarcoat that.
Yep.
I don't really know who Danhausen is. And I mean that with no disrespect to the man, but I don't know who he is. And I feel like there will be so many people that are like me who that box would open up, Danhausen would come out of it. I would get the pop, but I wouldn't pop the way that some people would because I have no idea who that is. But Jericho, I think, would pop everyone. And particularly if he comes out with his intro countdown noise or the break the walls down, even if he came out to Judas or something new, if it's Jericho, I think the roof is going to blow off of the place. And I think it just works wonders. So I'm going to go with Chris Jericho here. I think Jericho's coming out of that box. And what you've got, Danhausen?
Yep.
Okay, dude, we are split right up the middle right now. My
prediction is Danhausen, and my want deeply is Chris Jericho.
We are split right up the middle with this card. I mean, seriously, we're not. Listen, I think that is the end of the splitting, folks. Because when it comes to the main event, I think unless Skeens really pulls a fast one on me, I don't think he's picking Finn. Even though I will say this, I like what Finn did on Monday. I like the fact that Finn came into the clubhouse and he's wearing a blazer and he's definitely telling Dom, maybe you need to do what you need to do and step up and show that you can be the champion that you claim to be and not rely so much on the Judgment Day. You know what I mean? Stepping in and making sure that you remain champion. And I definitely see the rift beginning to form here. And I definitely feel like, obviously, Finn Balor is not going to win this match. But as we talked about last week, how does that happen, right? How do we get to Finn Balor losing to Punk? I don't think you do all of this buildup that you've been doing with Finn and the conversation he's been having with Punk and other people, and then him giving his speech that he just gave in the clubhouse, only to have him go out there on his own, quote unquote, and lose clean to CM Punk. I think last week I positioned something, and I still think that is probably the strongest angle to go with, particularly because Dirty Dom currently does not have a dance partner for the Royal Rumble, for WrestleMania. And I think that you have Judgment Day ignore Finn's orders or his request, particularly Dom. And he comes out there, he tries to get involved to help Finn win, and he causes Finn to lose. And Finn loses that match to Punk, and then Finn has got beef with Dom, and then he challenges Dom to a match at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship. That's my pick. That's how I think that goes. But yes, I think CM Punk is winning this because why would CM Punk risk the main event of WrestleMania for this match? And I don't think he's going to. I think we're going to get Roman and we're going to get Punk because we need Roman to come back and do some more stuff. So, Skeener, your thoughts on this match? Who you got? I don't think we're zippering this whole thing. So, what you got?
Yeah, it's definitely Punk's gonna win. I think what you said last week and what you're still predicting makes sense. Is that Judgment Day ignores Finn's orders and that they kind of get in his way and cause him to lose, and that causes him to further think about what Punk said, that Judgment Day is holding him back, and we get a little development there. Whether it leads to, like you said, a WrestleMania match. I could see Finn taking the Intercontinental title from Dom. That'd be a nice WrestleMania moment, wouldn't it?
I agree wholeheartedly.
So, yeah, I'm kind of on board with that happening, to be honest.
I agree wholeheartedly. And listen, we all knew that Finn was not going to be a real contender right now. Not saying that he won't, but he was not going to be a real contender right now in the World Championship picture. But you can put the IC title on Finn, and he can be a very good, very credible Intercontinental Champion. And if it is any indicator of how well you can be positioned on the card and how much freedom you can have to be really be great with a secondary title, look no further than Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch has just been doing the Lord's work with the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And I think Finn could really be a credible fighting men's Intercontinental Champion in a way that Dom isn't. You see Dom more on AAA than you see him on WWE in the ring. And so, take that title off of Dom, put it on Finn, let Finn do his thing on WWE programming, let Dom continue to be the AAA mega champion, and, we go that route. But there's no way on God's green and blue earth that Finn Balor beats CM Punk, and then we go into Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That there's just no way that that's happening. So we are together on this one. That's good.
Yes.
That's good. So a couple of things that happened this week. There's something else that happened that was really big. I forget what it is. Oh yeah. AJ Styles has officially retired from WWE and from professional wrestling. Now, there was a part of us who thought that it was possible that AJ Styles would be leaving WWE to potentially do some things with some of his other wrestling buddies before he retired in other companies. And that was part of the reason why he did not put his gloves down in the ring at the Rumble. But apparently he wanted to do it at home, which I thought was just beautiful. And I think AJ's speech was beautiful. The fact that his family was there, his kids were there, besides his one son that had the flu. And I think he gave a really great, concise speech. And the crowd was just there for him because he's the hometown hero. And, for everyone to come out on stage and, we'll touch on what happens next. But Skeener, your thoughts on AJ's retirement speech and just, the career of AJ Styles. You were following AJ's career longer than I was, because I knew who he was on when he was originally with TNA, but I never really watched him there, and I didn't see any of him in New Japan. But when he came to the WWE, I was very excited because I felt like I was finally getting to see the great AJ Styles. But you watch his career more closely than I have. So your thoughts on AJ Styles, his career in general, his run in WWE, and this retirement speech that he gave?
I thought Monday was a perfect close to his career. I thought it did him justice. I'm glad he got that moment. The show of respect was great. I I realized, I guess maybe because I was hoping Taker was there, when they were like leaving a gap in the when they were lining up on stage and leaving the center clear, I was like, okay, Taker's here for sure. They
Yeah.
still got me with the almost going off air, but I was pretty sure when they left the gap that he was there, even if it was going to be off, quote unquote, off air when they
Yeah.
did it. But yeah, I mean, heck of a moment to see and to see him surprised with his induction, well deserved. Loved the speech. Just one of those wrestling moments you're glad and blessed to witness.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I guess there's no point in burying the lead here. AJ Styles was also announced via The Undertaker that he is in the 2026 class of the WWE Hall of Fame. So we will get the Hall of Fame ceremony inducting AJ Styles the Friday before WrestleMania weekend, which is freaking awesome. When Taker came out, my original thought was that he was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. That was my first thought. When Taker led with what he led with, there was a part of me that thought, oh, this makes sense. I thought that we were, for a moment, that we were going to get AJ Styles, Undertaker 2.
You thought we were running it back?
At Mania, and it was going to be AJ Styles this time that was, retiring. And that he got his last match against Taker.
Undertaker is very firmly retired.
Agreed. But I will say this. When he came out there, I was thinking, Taker looks good. Taker's moving he's moving good right now. He looks a little leaned up. And I was like, okay, when he first led with, you're just going to leave your stuff in the ring. We've got unfinished business. I was like, okay, wait a minute. I'm not predicting, but I'm saying if this is what it is, that AJ Styles is retired, but his retirement match is going to be against Taker, it's a great full circle moment, right?
It would have been fun.
Oh, it would have been great fun.
I do not think Undertaker is physically capable of that at this point, and I think he would say that.
I don't disagree.
It's probably been too long at this point.
Yeah.
Plus, honestly, the way he went out was perfect. And I know you're not saying you wanted it, but I get what you're saying. But yeah. Okay, maybe, yeah, for when I didn't know what he was talking about for like that half second in my brain, that kind of did go through it too.
That's what I snapped.
But then I snapped myself back. I was like, no, stop.
It was brief. It was brief because, it was real brief. But, it's like, then you track his words, right? You track his words and, what does he say? You've heard the saying, when you see me coming, you're already gone. Well, I changed it. When you see me coming, you're going. I mean, I knew before he finished
That's when I figured out what was happening.
Yeah. Okay. So it didn't dawn on you before then.
No, not until he said going. I didn't know what was happening. I thought he was just out there as like, the ultimate. What bigger show of respect could you have than Undertaker coming out?
Sure.
For your retirement. It's been there forever. I mean, all the ones we've seen, Shawn and Flair's when he comes out, like that's still like he's still the man. And when he comes out and shows you respect, doesn't get no bigger than that.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, I thought when he
but
first
no, it did not the Hall of Fame did not dawn on me until when he said the word going, then I made the connection, but not before.
See, that was solidified for me when he said that. It was solidified for me when he said that, but that my first initial thought was they're going to induct AJ. And then he swerved me for a hot second because I was like, oh, okay, wait.
Didn't know what the heck he was talking about.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. But
I think it worked because I don't think AJ had any clue what the heck he was talking about either.
Well, and that's when that was honestly for me, that was when I first got clued in that like, okay, they're not having a match because AJ looks
really
genuinely
like,
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But
he's
dude,
like, brother, I didn't agree to no match. Like, what are you talking about?
dude, I tell you, man, I'll tell you this, man. Watching AJ's face when he gets told that he's going into the Hall of Fame, I genuinely felt like this is what it really looks like when you have someone who A, has dedicated their life to this business, B, someone who always dreamt of being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and C, someone who went out on their own terms, right? While they're healthy, while they're strong, making this decision, having their final night in front of his hometown, in front of all of his peers and his family, and then having Taker come out and tell you that you're also going into the Hall of Fame. Like, oh my gosh, dude, I welled up a little bit during that moment because I just felt for the man. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy cool to think that you can have such an impact in that way and on all the people that you've had the impact on. Like, did you see those video clips that they released leading up to Monday?
Yeah.
I thought those were just awesome. The whole Uncle Al thing.
Yeah.
That was just awesome. Just seeing how all of the wrestlers resonate with him, how the young wrestlers who he's watched come into this business and how he's been able to just kind of like mentor them and how he's been able to help them and how they really enjoyed his presence there. You know, it was just really awesome. Really, really, really awesome to see and appropriate that, you know, he came in 2016 at the Royal Rumble and that his last match was in 2026 at the Royal Rumble. Hey, listen, go out the way you want. Like that right there is just in some ways.
It's crazy to think that he did a decade. Like, because obviously he was, you know, I'm not calling him ancient, but he'd had a long career before he showed up in WWE, and it's crazy that it was a decade long, at least to me.
Yeah, I was surprised when he said a decade because it didn't feel like a decade. But then, you know, when I'm watching the video montage that they put together for him and seeing him, you know, come out in the Rumble when Roman's waiting for him in the ring, and then you see him and I'm looking at him like, oh, you look 10 years younger.
Yeah.
Like you look 10 years younger. That's wild. But yeah, I mean, dude, hats off to the guy. Like I really, really love that for him. And I'm happy that this was not at the end of the day, a precursor to a match with Taker at Mania.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm
we don't
glad it
need
wasn't.
that.
No, we didn't need that. We didn't need
No,
that.
we needed what we got, which was a really, really cool moment.
I agree. Now, and listen, in my opinion, I think this was the way to do it. I think that this was, in a lot of ways, for me, Skeena, superior to the way that Cena went out.
I think Cena, like, the John Cena thing doesn't need to be the norm. I think the AJ Styles way and the way it's always been, which is, hey, guys, retire if you know, they're given the opportunity to come out and they have this speech and people, their friends and stuff get to be there and, you get a show of respect and send them off the right way. I think the Cena thing just... It's because it was John Cena, and I don't know. I think they did everything right by AJ Styles. I really enjoyed all of it and thought they hit a home run with it.
Dude, I agree. And listen, I think calling your shot in this way, the reason why I like this over Cena's retirement is, one, you don't put yourself in a position the way Cena did for so many things to go wrong. Two, I think Cena's way, I agree with you 1000%. Because it was Cena, he was afforded this ability to do this long, drawn out thing. And I think it was fine. But looking back at what AJ decided to do, it was clear that he decided that 2026 and the Royal Rumble was going to be his last match way in advance.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that it was done way in advance. And when you look back on it, the stuff he did with Dragon Lee was such a big endorsement of Dragon Lee. You know what I'm saying? And Dragon Lee almost gets left with like the de facto legacy stamp from AJ because he was the last person to tag with AJ, and he's so well regarded by the fans and, you know, and the locker room in general. And Dragon Lee is all the AJs and the Dragons and the Lees.
That's been getting you for months now.
I swear, dude, I'm booking a match between AJ Lee and Gunther at this point. But
I don't know if we need that one. I'm going to be honest.
Listen, love to see it.
Would you though?
Dude, I saw clips of Penta versus Chelsea Green.
Okay. Now shrink Chelsea Green and greatly enlarge Penta.
You're right. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see that at all. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. But no, I think Dragon Lee picking up the reins and going against Gunther right now, I think it just sets this de facto stamp of AJ Styles' legacy on Dragon Lee. And you look back on it now and you see that, okay, this was his last match at the Royal Rumble. There isn't a whole storyline that's built around this. It just adds, in my opinion, more significance to the viewer of what those matches were. When I look back at John Cena's farewell tour, I think the significance of them is only due to the fact that they were part of his farewell tour. You know what I'm saying? Like they're significant for a different reason. That they were part of his farewell tour and that they were some of his last matches. But it just hits different. It hits different for me than Cena's farewell. And listen, Cena did his last match at Saturday Night's Main Event, and then he was gone. Like that was his last date with WWE. And we saw Cena on Cody's podcast, and that's the last we've seen of Cena. And I do feel like the traditional route of having your last match and then coming out in front of the fans and, you know what I'm saying, giving your farewell speech, I think it really gives the fans a moment to interact with you in a way that is processed in the right way. Because in some ways we see what unprocessed happens, what unprocessed feels like when it's done the wrong way. We saw that at Saturday Night's Main Event, right? Where you left it unprocessed and the fans were able to react and respond the way they wanted to. And I feel like had you done that same thing with AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble, where he gets beat by Gunther, and that's the last time we see AJ, I think you would have had butthurt fans the way you had with Cena, who may have messed that moment up. You know, you give people enough time to process this. And then when AJ comes out, you've got all of the stuff that boiled up to the surface that maybe some people probably shouldn't have said out loud to kind of simmer down.
Time to calm down.
Exactly.
I guess.
Exactly. And so I think that's why this feels different for me than Cena's. And why I honestly like it a little better. I like it a little better than what happened with Cena. But, you know, 2 down, brother. I wonder who's next. Like, my guess is that it's Orton.
I mean, of the stars of that magnitude, you would think. But who knows? I mean, you got Ray, who's a decade older in the business than Orton is.
True. This is true. But the thing with Ray is that Ray doesn't seem to be showing any, like, he's showing signs of slowing down, but he's been showing signs of like slowing down gradually over like the course of the last 8 years. Like, I feel like he's going to be on a steady decline the way that people are when they get older. But whatever it is that he is doing, whatever, you know, hormone therapy he is taking, that's some gene therapy that is making him last the test of time, I feel like he's going to outlast Randy. But, you know, suffice it to say, I also think that the writing is just on the wall when it comes to Randy v. Cody, as, you know.
Yeah, that's got to happen at some point, man.
Yeah,
I still think we could get that at Mania, but
I could see that. I just wonder, like, do you take more time to build that, right? Like,
you could.
Do you take more time to build that?
But we're still going to have, I mean, we will have 6 weeks post Elimination Chamber to get to WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, this is true.
The last couple of years have added essentially 2 more weeks to that gap with WrestleMania dates being pushed back a little bit.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it just feels like a match between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes needs more than 6 weeks of build. Like, I think you can do it in 6 weeks, but the idea that you wouldn't lay breadcrumbs mad early, you know what I'm saying? And start building to this idea of what could eventually turn into this tension, right? That then turns into a full-blown feud between the two of them. Like, I feel like you start laying the seeds for it in the Elimination Chamber, right? With Cody and Randy both being in it. They can't both win, right? So they've got to go heads up. And I thought we were going to play a bit of that with Liv and Raquel until Liv won the Rumble, right? I thought we were going to play a little bit of that with Asuka and Kyrie, but Kyrie didn't qualify. I thought we were going to play a little bit of that with Rhea and Io, but Io didn't qualify. So, you know what I mean? Like, who else is there that you can do that with? Well, you can do it with Cody and you can do it with Randy because they both can't win. And so they're going to have to go heads up. I thought we were going to do it a bit with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, but Charlotte didn't qualify. So, you know, I feel like you can do it with Randy and Cody, and because nobody else is doing it, it can be a novel thing, right? Where either one of them pins the other to win, which I would love for it to be Cody. Just let the good guy show that he is willing to take these steps to win, which Cody has been doing this entire time. And have it plant the seeds in Randy's head that Cody can't be trusted. But then how do you trust someone in those situations where it's me or you? And you just kind of play into that, and then you build it through Mania. Like, I have no idea at this point what Cody does at WrestleMania if he doesn't win Elimination Chamber.
He wrestles Randy Orton.
Yeah.
I think you're overthinking it. Like,
no,
it's right there.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
I think 6 weeks is enough. I think it's longer in reality than it sounds.
You're probably right.
I say this because sometimes I look back at like WrestleMania's past and like when things started to get built, and it's so much like shorter than you think, especially if you like go back and we're talking like mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it was like 2 or 3 weeks and it works out in the end.
And by workout, you mean like these are like major angles that were really good that we talk about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'll come with some examples on Saturday, but I've definitely done this before and been like, wow, this is had much less time than I thought.
Yeah. I mean, I don't doubt you. And listen, when you tell me, if you tell me that,
I mean, I think a couple Stone Cold and The Rock ones were like WrestleMania 17. I think that was only like 3 or 4 weeks.
Is that the My Way one?
Yeah.
Dude, if that only took 3 weeks to build, then I am on board with building a great feud between Cody and Randy in 6 weeks.
Because I don't believe Rock was the champion at Royal Rumble, and Austin wins the Rumble.
Now that match was for the title, right?
Yeah, I think The Rock won the title at No Way Out 2001 after Austin had won the Rumble, and then you get all that stuff in a few weeks. Which I'm not saying you can't do it better, but I'm saying there's enough time.
Dude, listen, I hear you loud and clear. For me, that build up to Austin Rock is always felt like the benchmark. You know what I mean? Like that video package that WWE put out to My Way is just, to me, the quintessential build up to WrestleMania. That's the one I always remember.
No Way Out 2001. The Rock defeats Kurt Angle to win the championship.
Okay.
On February 25th. Then you have WrestleMania on April 1st. So 2 weeks less. They did that in a month. The Stone Cold Rock build for WrestleMania 17 was in a month.
Okay.
4 weeks.
I'm sold. I'm
telling you, you go back and some of these things were way less shows than you think they were.
I believe you. Maybe our modern wrestling brains have been conditioned to bloodline time. Where
pretty much, I think so.
We've just been conditioned to having these finish the story angles, which, to be fair, right? we didn't even start thinking about finish the story until Cody showed back up in WWE. But then you had this storyline that was being built over the course of a year, right? Of Cody getting back to the dance. That was after he went there the first time. So we've just been conditioned to this idea that these storylines have to take 6 months, 8 months to even have decent build. When, goodness gracious, the benchmark only took a month.
I know.
That's wild to even think about. That's crazy. Okay, I'm sold now. Yeah. I'm sold. Cody loses the chamber. I mean, this is a win-win because I didn't want him to win in the first place.
I don't think he's winning. He could. You should worry about him winning. I still don't think he is.
I'm worried as so much as the fact that Cody is the golden goose and WWE could always pull that card. The same way I worried back in the day when Cena was around or when Roman was around. That yes, there's always the break glass in case of emergency. And right now it's Cody. And I just don't want him to be in the title picture right now, particularly because he doesn't need it. And if we can build a really great feud off of the back of a betrayal of either Randy or Cody by the other in Elimination Chamber, listen, we've already shown that Cody, here's the problem though, a big Jacob Fatu problem. So Jacob is still in the picture here. We haven't walked away from this feud between Jacob and Cody.
No.
So
so we still got that.
We still got that. And so if, do you have a situation where Randy is not doing something at WrestleMania?
No.
So
Randy Orton not doing something at WrestleMania.
I'm not posing it like it's something that I think, but what I'm saying is
like that's what you were doing.
What I'm saying is Cody could have his dance card full. I've heard the idea floated that Jacob Fatu could find a way to mess up Cody's chance in the chamber.
I said that.
No, you said that.
Week. So yes. So yes, you did hear that. From a reputable source.
From a reputable source, one I trust.
Yeah.
And so, if that is the case, then does that circumvent the whole idea of Randy and Cody at Mania?
It could. I mean, there's a Jacob Fatu piece to this. I think we'll know more. I mean, we'll definitely know more come Saturday night.
For sure.
So this is where plans will become clear.
Absolutely.
Like we said, six weeks out. Here's the one worry I have.
Okay.
Is Triple H going to be able to not re-sign the Good Brothers? Because they were there Monday.
Okay, yes.
And sometimes he can't help himself with signing people. Especially them. They get re-signed everywhere all the time.
I think without AJ there, I don't think there's a draw. I mean, we saw a bunch of people there. We saw Frankie Kazarian there.
Never was much of a draw, but they come back. They show back up, man.
I think there was a draw for Gallows and Anderson as so far as the OC was concerned. But I think outside of that, when AJ was separate from the OC, I don't think there was a draw at all really to watch Gallows and Anderson matches by anyone.
Nope, but they still get jobs, man.
Listen,
big ups to those guys.
Listen,
they are very constantly employed. So good for them.
Credit to them for continuing to find employment. Like I don't want anybody to be without a job, but the idea of them coming back to WWE at this point, I don't see that. I see that as much as I see Triple H trying to get Frankie Kazarian.
They were backstage, so it's a worry.
Listen, Frankie Kazarian was backstage, and I don't think he's getting signed.
You don't know that.
That's what I said. I don't think he's getting signed. I don't think the Good Brothers are coming back. I don't think there's an appeal for that. But, look, we don't know until we see something. I just don't think we're going to see Gallows and Anderson.
Don't either, but I think I'm correct to worry about it.
Well, I mean, look, as long as Triple H is, in the driver's seat, I mean, he's got a history of signing people, but he also has a history of signing people that don't work out all that well. I watched a little retrospective on oh gosh, why is her name escaping me right now? Tegan Knox the other day.
Yeah.
And
doesn't have any knees left.
Dude, the spiral that she went on after she left WWE, Not great. I didn't know she had a little an opportunity to go to AEW. And
yeah, and then they walked out because they
yeah,
weren't
and
going
they
to win or
walked off.
something. Or
They
yeah,
walked off the night they were supposed to be performing because they didn't like their billing.
yeah. I just remember seeing a little about that.
Yeah, it was just it seems like a dumb decision. You know, like if you were talking about how much you miss wrestling and that you're not really getting booked and stuff like that, to then get a call from the second biggest wrestling company in America, for sure. And, you know, you already have a match with someone, and then they bring you back for a follow-up that's going into an angle that could position you for a contract, and you walk off the show hours before your match. That's wild. Like, listen,
Not good.
Betting on
Not
yourself
good.
is one thing, but like, you need to know the odds before you start betting stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because the likelihood of them getting booked anywhere else, certainly not WWE, but you know, it doesn't look good on you if you had a, you know, opportunity to be at the second biggest company in America and you blew them off the night of. I can't see how that works well with smaller promotions, but you know, I say all that because Triple H brought her back multiple times. So
Yeah.
he's got a history.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I hear you, dude.
Alistair Black quietly beat Randy Orton. So Triple H may just be trying to slide some things by us.
Listen, I am actually not unhappy with Alistair Black and what he's doing right now, purely because they really just gave him Karrion Kross's gimmick.
Right? Or he took it.
Yeah, something.
Which I said, I don't know if that's what you want to do, because it didn't work out well for the last guy that did it.
I don't know if they had more. I don't know if that had anything to do with the gimmick and more to do with Karrion Kross. And maybe they just did not come to an amicable agreement on that contract, and they weren't interested enough to fight for him, and he wasn't interested enough to fight for it. So, but you know, they gave Alistair this gimmick, and he apparently is doing that. And he's doing that with Randy Orton. He's doing with Randy Orton what Karrion Kross was doing with Sammy Hogan, which is, you know, trying to bring 2008 Randy back.
Seemingly, yes.
Listen, my favorite Randy was 2008 Randy too, so I hope he succeeds. I hope Randy brings back the 2008 facial hair and everything. That was the best version of the Viper, in my opinion. But I think that about covers everything. Yep. Unless I'm missing something. There's something on my brain that I thought about talking about, but it left my head, and so it must not be that big of a deal.
Well, I'll tell you this. This is the one other thing.
Yeah.
Is we did a little Jim Cornette reference. I'll make another one.
All right.
Favorite saying of his is as flat as a plate of piss. And you know what was that this week? Was that finish to Natty and Maxine? Was as flat as a plate of piss.
Dude, listen. First of all, Maxine has new music.
Yes.
It is better than having the American Alpha music. And I think anything is better than that for her. So shout out to her. I think that I am very, 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 very quickly souring on the idea that Natty can capitalize on what she had. She had some interest, but I said it before and I will say it again. Natty could really, really, really benefit from watching the tape back with someone who's not Natty, because there's some things that she does that work. I like the fact that she is simplifying her moveset, that her moveset is much more straightforward, right? I don't like the ridiculously stupid facial expressions that she makes. It seems way too contrived and way too overly marketed as sinister to be taken seriously, right?
Yeah, it's just not working, and that the silence was deafening in that finish. Like, it just was.
It
wasn't booked well. It wasn't executed well. It just...
You know who executed excellent there?
I mean, Maxine playing dead was kind of great. That was the best part of the segment.
You could have sold me on the fact that she was unconscious. Like,
yeah.
she really sold that. And I was sitting there thinking for a hot second, I was thinking to myself, did we just see another injury? Like,
yes, she sold it. She was not moving a muscle.
No, when she first hit and she went down, I was like, oh, she looks like she is out. Like, that's nuts. But, obviously that was a work. But man, Maxine does not seem to disappoint me when it comes to showing me what she's capable of doing, right? And she has room to grow. I feel the exact opposite about Natty. Like, I feel like we've seen everything we can expect from Natty. And I feel like we can just only expect for what she's given. She just is possibly going to figure out a way to squander it. And she doesn't have to. Natty, I know that you don't listen to this podcast because I feel like if you did, you would have at least reached out via the email account or on Instagram after last week because we talked at some amount of length about this last week. And I'm saying this again, hoping that you'll listen. If you're listening to this podcast, Natty, please get Tyson, get TJ to sit down with you and watch the tape back. Like, there are just something that I think you could get from this if you just had somebody who maybe had a more objective opinion about critiquing the work. Because there's some things I think you could eliminate and you could potentially salvage this. Because right now you're in a position on the card where not a lot of people are paying a whole lot of attention. And so you've got some room to work. But I think if you're going to squander the goodwill of the WWE booking team very quickly. Drop the ridiculously overdone, contrived, like cynical, evil faces that you're putting on. The brow work is too freaking much. It's too overdone. Like, loosen up a bit. You could go so much further with a slight 1,000-yard stare. You could do so much better with a blank, emotionless RBF. Sit down with Stephanie Vaquer. She's got the RBF down on lock. She can show you how to do that. And I feel like that would work so much better than this overdone, like, evil face that you put on. It just does not work. It just does not work. And you've had a great career. I can appreciate the idea that at this point you're willing to try and reinvent yourself and change it up. This has a possibility to be a better fit for you if you would allow it to be. But I don't know if you got that many people on your side that are sitting there willing to pump the brakes on you a little bit. That's what friends are for. I hope you have them so that they can kind of tell you when something is working and when it's not.
This is wild.
I do. I hope you have friends. Listen, I was just running an idea by a friend right before the show started. And you only need one. I don't have a lot of friends, but I had a friend who I could run an idea by before the show went on today on whether or not this was a good idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you like it? Like, see what I've got going on right now and give me your honest opinion. That's what you need. You just need one person to kind of at least sit down and give you a perspective that is not your own. Because we have ideas that come out of our head. And listen, if you ran it by ChatGPT, I'm telling you, ChatGPT is not going to tell you when you have a bad idea. Like, it's not going to do it. You need a human to tell you that something is not a good fit. And I feel like if you had anybody by your side to just watch your match back from start to finish, and particularly the stuff that happens in between the ring rope, not in between the ring rope, but like outside of the ring ropes, the entrance, what happens on the sides, and what happens after the match. Those are the things that you need to really watch the tape back on. Get some honest, critical feedback. Take it to heart, dial it back a bit, and I think you could salvage this. This is coming from somebody who genuinely thinks that you have a good idea. I think it's a good idea. It's just there's a lack of excellence in the execution.
Unintended, obviously.
Pun strongly intended. And, if you work that out, I think you can get it. But for right now, the jury is coming back slowly, and I don't know if you're going to like the verdict, but, it's still out. So we shall see. But we will see what happens on the road to WrestleMania. And I feel like we're going to get a lot of the wrinkles ironed out on Saturday, folks. We are dangerously close to WrestleMania. And I am so hyped. I bought my plane tickets to Milwaukee about a week ago. And, it's starting to feel real, Skeener. It's starting to feel real. And
it's going to 6 weeks.
Oh,
6
yeah.
weeks.
Dude, it's going to be fun. We are under 55 days. Like, it is going to be a fun time. Like, I am just starting to get into that mode. And I was just talking to my wife about if I was going to be able to put my belt in my bag, but they were going to be stowed away. I'm sure it'll go through, the TSA, and they'll be like, okay. And they'll put it underneath the plane. I got my real ID. I'm going to take my passport anyway, just because I don't want no problems. And we're going to get on that plane, and I'm going to meet Skeener in Milwaukee, and we're going to watch WrestleMania together. But first, you guys need to show up on Saturday and catch us on Lariat Lounge Live so we can see how the road to WrestleMania is going to be paved moving forward. I can't wait for it. Saturday can't come soon enough. Skeener, please let our friends know where they can connect with us so that they can build up to Saturday and meet us there on Saturday for the road to WrestleMania's official start.
For the last time as audio only, the Lariat Lounge, this podcast is coming at you once a week, every week. All your favorite platforms, all our episodes are up there wherever you get your shows. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. That's where you can find them all. We're over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. That's where you'll find the link for when we go live on Saturday, and where you can join us at Lariat Lounge Live on YouTube, streaming this Saturday for Elimination Chamber. And anything else you want to tell us, feel free to send us an email at thelariatlounge@gmail.com.
We really do appreciate you guys checking us out everywhere you listen. Come out and see us on Saturday for Elimination Chamber. We'll be hanging out. Be sure to get your pizza orders ready. I'm going to have mine on deck. As always, I know Skeener's going to have his pizza on deck. So show up, hang out with us. Let's eat, let's chill, let's enjoy wrestling, and let's get pumped for WrestleMania. It's going to be hype. I'm hype enough for you. So, you can get hype or you can stay hype. Words from a wise prophet there. But episode 50 is next week, and we'll be going video format. So we'll be doing the reactions to Elimination Chamber on air, live in front of, well, not live, but we'll be doing it on camera in front of everyone. And we'll be having fun doing it. So catch us wherever you listen to the podcast. And you can also catch us on YouTube. That's where the video podcast will be going up. I can't wait to see you guys. I can't wait for us to hang out. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before we sign off, Skeener, what is your wrestling takeaway from this week heading into the Elimination Chamber?
Man, I can't condense it down to, one takeaway, one thought, but just again want to speak about how cool the moment was on Monday that we got to witness with AJ Styles. And those are few and far between, and sometimes too often for our liking at the same time. But what a cool moment, and what a nice thing to happen, and hopefully everyone appreciated how great it was that we could witness what we did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And my takeaway, not to take anything away from AJ Styles, and you said it best, so I'm going to leave it there. All I'm going to say is whoever is next in line for the headship of the Vision, run the other way. That is a cursed position, folks. And I don't want to see anybody get hurt. So listen, let's just go ahead and let that die. It sucks that the Vision never got a theme song in their entire run. But you know what? Some things are just better to live and let die. And I think this is just probably one of those things. But we'll see what WWE decides to do with it. I just don't want anybody else to get hurt before WrestleMania. So here's to AJ Styles and a wonderful, wonderful career, brother. I'm glad you got to go out on your own terms in your hometown in front of your family and your people. And congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame. It's well-deserved, and, hats off to you, brother. So with that, we're wrapping up episode 49 of the Lariat Lounge. From your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens, this has been another edition of the Lariat Lounge. Please watch yourself on the way out.